welcome. Very good to see you again. It's been a
Very
while.
good to see you. Thanks for coming on the show, for joining Gary and I.
Gary, pleasure as always.
Glad to have you here. So the objective here with our real estate audience is to try and, give them a little help. I know they're your competitors, Daryl, but listen, you never know.
You can always help your competitors because they're going to help you sell your own house.
Well, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
So as much as we're competitors, we all work together.
Absolutely.
You know, that's the whole key. Everybody in this room works together.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very true. So tell us, what are we seeing right now generally in the market?
In the market, mostly what I hear is lack of inventory. But if you look at last year's statistics, basically the inventory is pretty much the same, right? And January, February, March, April of last year, we were on fire. And this year, they talk about lack of inventory, and people are getting better prices because of lack of inventory. But there's still 12 or 13 or 14,000 homes at any given time that are not selling. Mm-hmm. So those people are either greedy and they're not being priced right, or they're not showing well. And that's generally what will happen when a house will sit there. But the market is very active. The interest rates, they changed in April a bit, as you know. Mm-hmm. Right? And, it's a little tougher to qualify right now for mortgage. The banks are being a little tougher. So, you're always going to have that little hiccup, as you say, till everybody gets balanced out into that.
But, right? the amazing thing is that prices, especially Toronto, GTA, just keep going up, right? Apparently the number of transactions are down a little bit, but the prices keep going up?
Yeah, but based on last year's numbers, they're only up 5% over the year before. And that's a normal market, right? When you start seeing 10%, that's a true seller's market. But, a home should appreciate anywhere from 4 to 6% at any given year. So 5% is a normal market. It's not a seller's market, and it's not really a buyer's market. It's a balanced market.
Right. Well, I think it says great things about our city. When you look at some of the cities out west and what's gone in the U.S. after a recession, I don't think we've ever seen any significant declines at all in GTA.
Yeah, and most of the places in the U.S. got hit in 2005. They're still not recovered, and some of their prices are still dropping. So, it's, having stable governments, having, our banks are much better prepared.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the key things right there, They got
our banking system is really superb. It really saved us. But rates are historically low and stable, and that's really important. I just got a quick question for you. Do you see any difference in the market between 905 and 416?
Well, the biggest difference that I always seen is since they did the double tax, that the 905 continued to appreciate, where the 416 did not. And part of that is paying the double land transfer tax. You buy $1 million property, you pay $20,000 land transfer, and then you got to pay it another $20,000. So it's cost you an extra $20,000 right up front before you've done anything. It's a lot of money to come up with, because you can't really put that on your mortgage. Right?
Now, wasn't Rob Ford saying he wanted to get rid of that? Do you think that's likely to happen?
I would say it should happen, because it should have never went on there in the first place, right? I got to tell you, I differ on that point, because I agree. I would love to see that tax off. I just can't. I just don't see from a financial perspective that Rob Ford and the City of Toronto can afford to do away with that tax. The licensing fee was one thing, which was what, $60, $70, $80. Yeah.
When you're talking the number of dollars on a land transfer tax for the city, we're talking big money. I don't think the city can afford to do away with that tax. At least now they can't.
Well, that's one way of looking at it, right? But it's still double dipping.
Absolutely.
They get hit, the government get hit, you get hit with the HST, you get hit with one land transfer to the government, and then to the local you're getting hit with the other land transfer. So, people only have so much they can go for, because like you say, it's harder to get it on their mortgage, that extra money. So they've got to come up with bigger deposits or have extra cash so they can afford to do that.
The other thing I've been seeing certainly within the city is that first-time home buyers have certain exemptions on the tax. So within the City of Toronto, any purchase price that's not over $400,000, so $400,000 or less, they are exempt on that tax. That has certainly fueled a good deal of the market, certainly within the condo market. You go downtown, a lot of the condo units that are 400,000 or less, there's a superb price point there where you're getting a lot of young professionals, first-time home buyers going into the marketplace and just grabbing the stuff. So I see that as well. Now I'm starting to see a little bit of a shift. A lot of the first-time home buyers have gone into the market. And I'm really starting to see that the Toronto land transfer tax is starting to become an issue within the city. Where I'm starting to see a lot of the business that we get really is shifting over to 905. And I feel it. I see it.
Yeah, and it's been that way for. I used to do a lot more down the 416. We don't do as much because of it.
We have a caller. Let's take this call. Hi, you have a question for one of the experts? Hello? Perhaps not.
The senior credit that Garry was talking about earlier, I think that's awesome. Because one of the things that, as realtors, to have a better image and to service, like you say, our population is getting older and older. Look at all of us. We've been around for a long time. So we fit into that older age type of situation that, we have parents that need to downsize, their house is too big, all the kids are moved out. Now a lot of times the families are moving in with the kids. I was just up in Aurora this morning looking at a house where the family want to get a two-family home. They want a certain area. We went to an older house that's 100 years old. They've got an in-law apartment there. It's a totally separate unit, so it's a lot of people are looking for that today.
I got to tell you, just driving north, go up, but Bayview, Yonge, Bathurst, I just can't believe the number of new homes that have gone up. Do you see an active market in new homes, not pre-construction, but rather people have been living in a new home for 2 years and now selling? Do you see that as an active market?
Well, a lot of times, it's like the condo market. They spec on it, as you say.
Okay.
A lot of people are buying and turning them over before they even close. So what happens in a new home, that sometimes it could be 2 years between the time they buy it and the time it closes.
That's true.
So a lot of things will change, job transfer, divorce, or now they've, one of the other family members moved that they were going to look after the kids and they need to be closer for the parents and stuff like that. So a lot of that has effect. And I think any subdivision that you're going to move into, you're going to get at least 10% spec'd anyway, regardless. So, some are going to immediately turn it over and some just, it really wasn't what they thought, too much traffic or something. Because traffic is always an issue.
I want to mention again that the phone lines are open. If you have any questions for any of the experts, for Daryl or Garry, give us a call. I'll take a question too if you have anything on mortgages. Again, the number is 665-7500. Area code 416. You can chat with us online too if you have any comments or questions. Daryl, one of the things is this time of year, market's heating up. Things are starting to happen out there. How does a real estate are the things that a real estate agent can do to make sure that they try and keep their business steady? So in the fall market, after the kids are back to school, things usually die off quite a bit. What can they do?
Well, really what you want to be looking at is, we're still really waiting for our true spring market,
I thought it was here.
April 21st, Passover, Thanksgiving, and we had snow on the ground.
You feel it heating up. I mean, it's cold as hell out there, but things are starting to happen.
But I honestly believe that when you first get that real crack of heat and the flowers stop popping out of the ground, you're going to see a lot more houses go onto the market. So, hopefully there's enough buyers in there to grab those new homes that are going onto the market. Because, most people want to get changed in by August, for they could be in the new schools by September, which then you go into your fall market. But as far as the realtors, I mean, if they're not, the people, try and get them to get onto the market now. If they're not going to get onto the market, go visit them, go see them, prepare them. Because preparation for one's house is the most important thing that one can do before they sell their house. Barry's talking about families been there for 30 years and the house is all original and dated and stuff like that. And really, they could get a lot more for their home if someone just gone in and spruced it up, maybe added some paint, put a couple new doors on, put a couple new windows in, maybe threw a furnace in, maybe the roof, who knows what's there. So sometimes, to do a transfer, it maybe take week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months to prepare a house before you can actually put it on the market. So they got people thinking about it. Go in there and get the things that they need done now, so they can go onto the market in the spring market or the fall market.
Do you assist clients in that way?
100%.
Like you
all
have
the time.
like you have a stager can go in and help them with clearing out a house. Like one thing I think that is very common is that you go into a house and it's cluttered.
Yeah,
There's too much furniture.
all the time. All the time.
And you have stagers that will come in and help.
Yeah. Not only do we have stagers, but basically we've got guys that'll do driveways, do outside some landscaping, do the painting, virtually anything from A to Z. We've got someone that will look after anything that they need. And we're basically selling an average of 99% of asking price.
Which is amazing.
Right? So price it right, make sure it shows well, and then you're going to be able to sell it within less than 30 days or less.
Daryl, on average, you sell a home a day.
Every 17 hours.
Every 17
Every
hours.
17 hours.
It's a big number of homes. You were number
Number
two
in Canada last year.
for Canada for Royal LePage.
Yeah.
You have a team of approximately 23 real estate agents.
Yes.
So you are at the top. You're the king. If there was one thing, looking back over the years, to get you to where you are now that you did differently than the average realtor, something that could really help, what would it be?
Most of the reasons people get into real estate is because they just want to do what they want to do. They want to sleep in, they want to take days off, they want to go golfing, right? So really, all the wrong reasons.
I'm looking a little guilty.
Right?
Okay.
So what they really need in their life is more discipline.
Yes.
They need to get up at a certain time, right? They need to do some affirmations. They need to do some role playing. You need to know your scripts. Because no matter what, when a client goes to see you, you got a whole checklist of what you're going to prepare with. It doesn't change, right? Really what we do doesn't change. I'm like the doctor of real estate. I have to ask the seller all the different things that they need, what's important to them, right? So the problem is one day they'll, get up at 9 o'clock, the other day they'll get up at 11 o'clock, or they won't even go into the office, right? So they have no consistency. So most realtors, their business is like a big, long roller coaster. They'll sell a house, they'll get a little bit of money, and then they're going to go to a vacation or, take it easy a bit. Then they're running low on money and say, okay, it's time to go back to work and stuff. But it's not so just easy to just get into it because it's winning, it's contagious. Look at a sports team, right? Winning, look at the Toronto Maple Leafs after the All-Star break, they were actually playing good hockey. If someone could say, hey, the All-Star break starts in September as opposed to in January, we might have a decent team because they got their clocks in reversal, So you've got 365 days. Figure out how many days am I going to actually work this year. Having a business plan.
Right.
If you don't have a business plan, where are you going to get to? You have no direction. You have no guidance, right? I know my numbers. I know how many people I got to talk to every day.
So is that what a business plan has to basically what your target result is and then work backwards? 100%, is that right? So there's no way around. There's no way around that.
There's no way around. Not to be successful.
Right.
Right.
I'm just curious, do you provide any training with your agents? David said that, look, you've been in the business for 28 years, you have 23 agents.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any training for them?
We have training every day. Every day they have training. Really? It's mandatory if you work for my team that you have to take 1 hour of training every day, right? Because the only way they're going to improve and get better is you need to train.
What kind of training?
Training from everything from real estate from A to Z. On every aspect of it, right? Because what happens is you go to write a license, and then you call all the brokers. You're trying to get this highest commission that you can get, and then you go jump in there. But really, you've had no training because what they teach you in school has zero to do with what is happening in the real life out there, right? So when I started, here's a telephone book. There's your little desk, right? That was it. So basically, we train them in all the aspects of all the difficult things that they're going to come across, right? So that's way that, every family has different situations, and, find out what their situation is, and then learn how to handle it. And now you're just fine from the seat of your pants, right?
So when people start out, I think it's generally accepted that you got to work the phones, you got to cold call. Does that ever end?
It should never end, because it might be at a different level, but in reality, you're in sales. You need to be talking to somebody. A lot of people believe in, Facebook and Twitter
Right.
and all that, and that, changes a
You think
fair
that
bit.
works? Any of that stuff? The working for you?
I don't survive off that. I mean,
Right.
we do it, but I would never survive off that, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of young agents out there today that, can work around a computer or Facebook or whatever social medias, but we have it all. I mean, I pay people to look after those things,
Right. Yeah.
right? So,
But you can't replace the face-to-face communications.
not most times, because no matter what, most people still want to go, unless you're buying new, and then a lot of times they're going to see a sales office, that they still want to go across the threshold. So, so most times that are not, we're going to go show them houses, we're going to put them in our car, we're going to pick out the houses that they qualify for, right? Because if you want to buy a $400,000 house, what am I going to go show you a house for $600,000? It's wasting your time and wasting his time and then wasting our time. So make sure that, they speak to a mortgage broker like you first. Are they qualified? Here, go call your mortgage broker up. Go get pre-qualified before you even start thinking about it. And most times that are not. I always tell sellers, you need to sell your house before you buy your house. Because the biggest way that they're going to get in trouble is to go buy first without selling.
That's really a key point, because I've heard so many times, do I sell or buy first? Like which comes first?
I would always tell them to sell.
First.
Always, always, always. You can have a longer closing. So you're just going to give you, listen, 28 years I've never put anyone on the streets. And if worse comes to worse, you can go rent for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is, I go buy Barry's house, and then now we got to go sell your house. So you got an expensive house, $800,000 or $900,000. It might take 3, 4, 5, 6 months to sell your house. So our closing's only 3 months away. Meanwhile, 2 months have gone by. We have no offers. You're starting to feel a little bit like this. The bank doesn't want to say you're not going to qualify for bridge financing unless you actually sell your house, right? So all of a sudden now you're slashing your price. So meanwhile you projected, hey, I'm going to sell my house for like $890 or $880. Now you're down at $750, and you're still hoping to get an offer, right? So you start to feel a lot of pressure, desperate, and you're going to end up selling for a lot less than what you really, really were looking for.
So you wouldn't ever recommend that, or?
90% of the time, unless you got a lot of income and you can carry two houses, I'm always going to tell you sell your house first. Right.
I'm just curious, what sort of key changes have you seen in the last 3 to 5 years in your market?
Do you know what? People say there's a lot of change, but in reality, I've been here 28 years, and there's really no difference from when I started back then to today. It's still about location, pricing the house correctly, really finding out what your comparables are, because a lot of times people are being greedy, they think the market's hot, so they're asking for more than the house can be sold for, and they're just telling them that, and then they got to chase the market. But the information today is far greater. That's the biggest difference, is the information that people can get, buyers or even sellers, because now they're privy to all this information. We used to have a book that we used to get printed. That was the only way you could get information. So I guess the biggest difference from now is the technology in they can go see the house without even going seeing the house. So a lot of people will do that. They'll spend a lot of time on the internet looking at, I know the number of hits that I get on my listings every day is in the thousands. They're going in and looking at those houses, right?
So you have your own site.
Yes.
You have all your listings on it.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have numerous sites.
Okay.
Numerous sites.
Yeah.
Why would somebody want to come work for Daryl King team?
Well, they could go work on their own, right, and learn the school of hard knocks, or they could learn off a seasoned veteran that's going to teach them the proper way that they're actually going to have a professional career, right, and be successful in the business, right? So they're going to give me a little bit, but what they're going to take home at the end of the day is going to far exceed anything they would have done on their own.
So I guess, especially if you're a new agent and you're working so hard to get a listing appointment, you'll go out, you'll help new agents.
With any of my agents, at any given time, if I know in advance, I'll go on them on a listing presentation, or if they have to go negotiate something, right? So it's like if you work for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they have numerous coaches. They have practices every single day. So if you want to go in an airline pilot, they don't say, here, we're just going to go in. Look at, how long did you go to law school?
Too long.
Right? And you're still taking courses
Absolutely.
continuously.
Continually
right?
learning.
It's the same thing. That you can never get good at something until you've actually had the proper training. There's good training, and then there's just bad training or no training, right? So if we can teach them proper ways, you know, they're going to be successful at what they do, and that's really what we're trying to embark there. You know, real estate agents have a bad name. We're trying to raise the bar. So when we got to do all these courses and stuff and take all these credits, I think it's the best thing in the world. You know, raising real estate fees, I think it's the best thing. Because you're trying to cut out those guys that are just trying to come in and make a quick buck and then whatever. They don't care about anybody, right? You know, people like ourselves have been around for a long time, so we care. We're trying to service our clients, because that's really what it's about. If I go to you or I go to you, you're going to service me. You're going to look after my needs. I go to a seller or buyer, they're looking for me for my expertise. So being able to direct them in the right direction without making it, it's stressful selling your house. It's divorce, marriage, and death, and selling your house. They're your top four, right? Or public speaking.
And at times it's divorce and sell the house.
That's 20% of my business.
And of course, starting a new career, whether it's in real estate or anything else, is always a challenge too. So if you talk to the right people, you're a new real estate agent, talk to Daryl, DarylKing.com.
Not to be even a new agent.
Not
because
even a
I've
new
had
agent.
agents that have been in the business 10 or 15 years and come and join me, and they've made more in the first 3 years than they did in 15 years in the business.
So
I think part of that is that you carry a great name. There's a brand.
It is a brand. It is
Exactly.
a brand, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, it is.
Like you brand yourself, you're at every
Absolutely.
trade. Listen, there isn't a trade show or anything in real estate that you're not at. You're there, you sponsor everything, right? You're involved in so many different things, and that's how you get your name
It's
out
not
there.
only brand, but it's also hard work. I don't think anything replaces hard work.
I got a lot of hours under those belts.
Yes.
and sticking with it, right? Because a lot of people, they do something 6 months, a year, don't get
No, it's a
immediate results,
consistency. You
they
gotta
give
keep
up.
at it.
Yeah.
Can't give up.
Well,
You know, it's funny because you've been in the business 28 years. You carry a great name. Your brand is there. You're number 1 or 2 at any given time, Canada-wide. But you're still there. You're still knocking on doors. There's still the mailings. There's still the signs up. You're doing all the same stuff that you were doing.
well, everybody's looking for that magic formula, so when they discover it, I'll be the first one to sign up, right?
You know what I noticed? It's just hard work.
Yeah. Hard
work.
hard, smart work, smart and efficient.
Yeah, and you got to provide service today. Like I know that in my work, we give free home service. We will go to the client's house and sign them up.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, see, that's something new I just found out.
We'll talk about
There
this
you go.
after the show. But yeah, it's service.
Because
Service.
I get lots of people call me up, where's the lawyer at? So if he's in downtown and he's in, you know, York region, they're not going to want to go downtown to go visit him.
And you know what I also know? People's lives are full between the children and careers, and you know they're going back and forth, and usually the couple, both parties are working. It's hard, and there's not a lot of time. So time is important.
That's the other thing that you talked about. When I started, mostly it was one family income, right?
Yes.
So now, like you said, it's 2 families, and now the kids are involved in every friggin' sport going. So yeah, time is really of the essence.
Yeah, you
Right.
need 2 incomes just to pay the mortgage.
And you know what I
100%.
noticed? Like I've had over 30 plus years contact with many agents, and the key is good agents attract good clients, and agents that are not good attract clients that are not good. And I think the key is where I've dealt with an agent who considers him or herself a professional and carries themselves out in a professional way and cares about the client, they are the ones that are the most successful.
Sure, the client, no, you can burn anybody once, but how are you going to get that repeat and referral business?
And it's
Right.
relationships.
That's what it's always about. Always, always.
And that's important. Like for in my field, in yours and yours, relationships are key. What is the term in real estate? Is churning, which is a term that you just take one client one time and then you don't have them again.
That's
'cause
right.
You don't care.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
develop relationships. I mean, when I have a young couple who are buying their first condo, for example, entry-level pricing, you know, if you treat them well and you care about them and the price is right and you provide the service, the quality work, they're going to come back. And these young people are the people that they have the friends who are going to be buying now. And these are people long-term. They're the people that you'll buy 3-4 houses over a period of time. The wills, the powers of attorney. One of the parties may go out into their own business, so you get the business work. And this is what it's about with all of us.
So you have heard from the experts right here on Keeping It Real. Daryl, thank you very much for joining
Thanks
us
for having
today.
me. Pleasure and honor, as always.
Appreciate it.
Daryl, great seeing you again.
Pleasure to see
DarylKing.com.
you.
I'm going to be back in just a minute and talk to Garry. One of the things he's been working on is these assignments. It's a hot issue. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute with Garry. Daryl, thanks again for being with us. Hang in there. We'll be right back.